I'm going to do my best to go through and kind of explain what we did, but the kitchen kind of wrapped around here like this, and it was like a peninsula style kitchen. What's up, guys? Lewis with Flip to the Moon here, and we're headed to our next project. It's 3,000 square feet, single story, 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 3-car garage, paver driveway, pool home on a lake. When we were looking, it had been sitting on the market for a while, and eventually it got down in price to $700,000. And that's right about our buy point. We found a middle ground on price on this one at $680. We have a really good comp in the neighborhood at $900 on a smaller home on the same lake. So we know there are buyers in the 900s. Now, you might be asking, okay, why did this sit on the market? And how did we get it and nobody else got it when the margins are that good? Well, the answer is it's move-in ready, but it's not priced for retail in the current condition. Not that it's neglected, it's just ugly. It was recently redone with dark flooring, moody wallpaper everywhere. It's the most wallpaper that I've seen. We've seen wallpaper many, many times, but not like this, and not in a home this big. We've seen it in some smaller homes, but not in a 3,000 square foot home where the kitchen, the bathrooms, they're all covered in this stuff. We have our work cut out for us in that regard. But we're gonna fix everything wrong with this house. And that was really, when I tour a house, what I'm trying to do is, I'm asking myself, okay, why is a home like this sitting on the market, number one, especially in a really nice community like that? And number two, can we fix the reasons it's sitting? Because if we can't, then we're gonna end up putting a bunch of money into it, listing at a much higher price, but all the same flaws that caused it to sit on the market will still be there. The answer, obviously, to this is yes, we can fix the wallpaper, fix the ugly floors, fix the draperies, and it's got a really small kitchen, which is gonna be very expensive to open this kitchen up, but it can be done, and it's going to make a huge difference. We're on the way there right now, and I can't wait to show you guys this thing. This is it. This is your view right when you walk in the front door. Wall here, great view here, pool, lake, but then here, all right, this is a problem. Now, obviously here, this is staying. Fireplace in the middle of the home. I don't like it, but it's here. Let's work with it. But this has got to go, because on the other side of that is the kitchen and living room. We're gonna keep this archway here because it ties in architecturally with some of the ceilings are different heights as you get throughout the house. So I don't wanna mess with that too much, but right here, we're gonna get rid of that, and that's gonna create some really cool sight lines. The drapery's gotta go, and I'm sorry for those who like this type of stuff, but for me, it's a little dated. Just the feeling in here is, and this is something I always look for, is we only have a little over 3,000 square feet in here, and that's a big house, but it feels like a 5,000 square foot house. Everything is just so open. So let's talk about that 5th bedroom. Now, this is an office space, but this is a 10 by 11 room. Okay, so it's not small by any means, and we have 12-foot ceilings in here as well. So we're gonna add a closet right here. We're gonna borrow from the longer part of the room. This is the 10-foot part. We're gonna borrow from the 11-foot part. And again, this is a 5th bedroom. I'm gonna take the chance on a small closet. I don't think we're hurting ourselves, but we'll list as a 5-3. Down here is your pool bathroom. So I love all of these archways in here. This is a mid-90s house, 1995. I feel like a lot of these archways are coming right back in style. Walking in, linen closet, decent size primary bedroom. It's 14 by 14. It's not gonna blow your socks off in terms of size, but it's big enough, just big enough. If I had to say one thing about this house, it'd just be the size of the bedrooms. They're all 12 by 11 or 12 by 12. That last one, 10 by 11, 10 by 12, 14 by 14. They're just slightly on the smaller side. I think if we do enough right, that's not gonna be they're just big enough to make sense. First, here we go to the primary bath. Now, I wanna talk a little bit about what we're gonna do. So this is really cool. This thing is like, again, 12 foot high. I'm just gonna get rid of all this bulky soffit and all these like bulky, just, you know, entryways that were created. And we're gonna open this up into one big room. We're gonna put a different chandelier in here. And this is actually I believe 80-inch vanity. We're gonna do a custom 72-inch vanity. That'll give us just enough space here that we can put a corner tub here and then create a big walk-in shower all back here. Okay, look how big that is. And then we're just gonna put a little glass panel. It'll just give you enough room that you can just walk right into your shower right there. Water closet in here. We have a lot of work to do to get rid of all this wallpaper. Again, I know some of you guys love this stuff. We're gonna do wallpaper. It's just not gonna be this. So that's the entire right side of the house. And this brings us into the kitchen and living space, and then all the other bedrooms. Now, one thing before we get in there, I want to talk about is right here. We're going to do some really cool things in the kitchen, and you're about to see probably our third item on that list of how did I get this house for so cheap? And the reason for that is just this really weird scrunched in tiny kitchen. So obviously our goal for that is we're gonna make that kitchen huge. So slightly ahead of ourselves, but to do that, we have to relocate the laundry. This will be our entry to the laundry. So let's walk in. So again, from right about here, we've already marked it. All of that, and then all of that is gonna go. And here we are inside the kitchen living. Now this is easily the biggest living room I think I've ever seen. So for what they kind of cut out of the kitchen and bedrooms, they definitely did not or added to this living room, because it is freaking monstrous in here. Funny thing is there's no lights in here. There's no recessed lights at all. So we can add that. Anyways, so here's our kind of, in my opinion, one of the biggest issues is this kitchen. This is not a close to $1 million kitchen. And for whatever light they did not include here in the living room, they took them all and they put them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you have 11 lights in this postage stamp size kitchen. So we're gonna figure that out. I don't know what these do. I don't know the placement of any of these. None of this makes any sense why they're there. It looks like they just closed their eyes and drilled a bunch of holes, but we're gonna fix all that and make it right. So how? Okay, how do we do this? Now here's one issue, and this almost put the kibosh on the entire deal, was we can't move the kitchen this way. It sucks. We have all this space here. We really can't go past this opening here. And we're gonna do a big island, okay? But before I even get to that, let's talk about this. So this goes back to my relocating the laundry entrance here, because we need to take all of this and we need to push it all the way back against this wall here. To do that, we are going to completely encroach on the current laundry, which is here. We're also gonna have to raise all these ceilings up because they're two different heights. But yes, this wall here is that wall I just showed you on the other side. We're gonna go straight. We're gonna go straight here, and we're gonna just push all of this back into the garage, which is on the other side of this door. So now that we can push all of this back here, that gives us, and this is gone, that gives us space to do an island in the middle of this kitchen. Just a little farther here. We're gonna just go a little farther. So we're gonna have an island, a galley style, straight back. Now we're gonna get rid of this pantry here and all that bulkiness here. We're gonna get rid of all this bulkhead up here, and we're gonna do 42-inch wall cabinets. These walls, they go so high. Let's utilize all that. We're gonna do a really cool custom hood. So we're gonna have a 5-foot wide island here. It's gonna go 11 feet back. And then we'll have another 3 feet, and then that'll hit your fridge. So that's really how much space we actually have in here to enlarge this kitchen. So we're gonna walk through here. So, let's talk about these bedrooms one more time. Now, cool thing is we actually have vaulted ceilings in the bedrooms. And I think that's such a nice little touch that they are on the smaller side. I'll have to get my measuring tape, but I think that's 12 feet. I think it's 12 by 12, and it probably is even less because of this closet here. But this is such a cool little touch on this side of the house with the vaulted ceilings that I think it's okay. Obviously, we're asking close to $1 million for this place. The bedrooms are definitely the first thing people are gonna notice here is the bedrooms are small. I'm gonna hear about it. But you know what? I think if we do enough things right, like I was saying, it won't matter too much. Again, bedroom 2 here, vaulted ceiling. This one looks a little bit bigger. All these interior doors are good, and they're not that standard ugly 6-panel that you see. So I'm really happy because we're not gonna have to buy interior doors. Here's our guest bathroom. Love it, 2 sinks already. I actually don't mind this. It kind of works, but the drapery's got to go, and this big soffit bulkhead here has got to go. And we get such a good deal on our stone that maybe we'll keep the cabinet. I've actually never kept a vanity cabinet before, so I'm kind of on the fence about that. We got to figure out what tiles we'll do, and then we'll figure out if we can keep that. And coming back here, you have linen closet, tub, standard guest bathroom. And then bedroom, we'll just call it 3. That was bedroom 3 on this side of the home. And I've now shown you the entire house. Let's just talk a little bit about the outside. One thing I'd like to do is get rid of this black tile. Let's see if we can walk out here for a second. So let's get out here for a second. It's not that bad weather-wise. So I'd love to do an outdoor kitchen. We have no space anywhere. We have looked every possible way we could to do one. We have absolutely nowhere to put it. So that's sadly a feature that we're not gonna have, that some of our competition will have. But one thing we have in this area that our competition does not have is a water view. It's hard to see the water, but there's a big old lake back here. It's not skiable, but it runs throughout the entire community of 40 homes in here. And there's just a lot of trinkets and odds and ends here. We're gonna clean all this up. We're gonna get rid of some of this. There's no reason to have privacy right here with all these trees and bushes. You wanna see the lake. So we're gonna get rid of as much of this as we can. I like this tree in the middle, so we might work around that. I like this tree here. Some of this over here is okay, but we're gonna clean all this up, and then we're gonna do a gazebo back here and a fire pit area so you can really entertain back here. We'll probably do a little fence right here just so you can have some privacy in your pool. But really, we're looking at this in terms of maximizing the usefulness, the utility, and the value that this lot brings us. So that's the plan. All right, guys, so we're on the way to the property and we're done. It's been about 12 weeks. Today is our last day of ownership. So we have an offer we accepted, and we are signing it away today. And sometimes that's a bittersweet thing, and in this case, it actually is. Other times, you can't wait to get your signature on those papers. But in this particular case, this is my favorite renovation. And I know all I have content-wise is the self-narrated video I did on day one. And now here I am driving to the final product. But going forward, we are gonna be mindful to film during the renovation because we have so many crazy things that happen. And I'll do my best to go over those things retroactively. We're on the way there, and I hope you guys enjoy. Okay guys, we're in. Now this home was really hard. One of the things we kept running into in this home was, you know how they say like football is a game of inches? This home was a game of inches. We were a couple inches away here or there from having some really cool, simple, easy designs that we didn't have. And I'll go around and kind of show you some examples of that. But this home really was I call it a home of inches. We ran into so many problems over 2 or 3 inches. So very frustrating, but we found a solution for all of it. So I know first thing you guys are going to notice is this big wall right here. So let's just head right into the kitchen. We were able to take this part of the wall out. One of the big things that I contemplated was getting rid of this fireplace right here. And I decided to keep it because we also added, and you'll see this later, we added an electric fireplace back there. I decided to keep this because if we did get rid of this, and we could have, we still would have had the chimney architecture on top of the roof. And we did not replace the roof on this house. So I felt like if we got rid of this, but then we'd have to get rid of what's on the roof, patch the roof. I felt like we're opening a can of worms. So what we did is we kept it. We retiled it right here. We brought the tile a little bit higher. We did a really nice, this is like a marble trim that I found. This is a very thick tile. So we struggled kind of with our trim options to finish it off here, but it's quickly become my favorite tile. I'm definitely going to incorporate that in other homes. So anyways, let's keep going. So I know this might get a little bit lost on you guys just because of how different this home is. So I'm going to do my best to go through and kind of explain what we did. But if you can remember, the kitchen kind of wrapped around here like this, and it was like a peninsula style kitchen. We came in here, and what we did is we just got rid of everything. We took everything out, and we started from scratch. Now, one of the issues we ran into was up here. So there, because we're going into a different room of the house, and the ceilings in this house are all different heights. So the living room, they're 12 feet. Here they're 10 feet. And then they actually transition to 8 feet right here. In this room, they're 12. So they're all different heights. And this laundry was sadly an 8-foot ceiling. We had to kind of navigate, how do we incorporate an 8-foot ceiling into our 10-foot ceiling kitchen? That was not a matter of inches. That was a matter of feet. But now, and I sold a house to a couple nearby about 2 months ago. And one of the coolest features about the home that they decided to purchase was it had a butler's pantry. And ever since they bought that house, I haven't looked for a way to build one of these. Why don't we go in there? You can just take a look around. It's not the biggest little walk-in pantry in the world, but we made it as functional as we could. And I felt like we created a space in there that was usable. So all in all, it was a part of this home that I felt like really helped us reach our price point. One of the coolest things about this house is just how big this living room space is. It's so big. Now, we were really hoping that we could have pushed the kitchen into this part of the house a little bit, a couple feet, but there's an archway right here. And we thought, every which way we could on how to, buy some space from this archway. But unfortunately, this home, it was built a certain way and it's got to stay that way. So there was no other way around this. We had to keep it, hence why we went into the garage. But let's talk about that inches problem. So it might not be immediately obvious, But these windows are not on center with this wall. They're beautiful and they look out to the lake, but they're not on center. And when we did these built-in cabinets, they protrude into the window. So I came here and my cabinet guy had installed these, and he had installed them in height with the baseboards. No problem. I'm okay with that. But they came up to here. So you had this awkward corner right here. And, I didn't catch it right away. I caught it like a few days later after he was done. And, it was something that we had to come up with a solution for. So had they put these windows only a few inches more this way, we're not running into that problem. Okay, this is actually the biggest fire we had to put out. So I walked in here, the cabinet guys were here, and we took all our measurements. I was here probably till about 6 p.m. I was in this kitchen probably 2 hours with measuring tape and a can of spray paint. And we were figuring out exactly how wide can our island be, and how deep can it be, and how much space do we need in front of our fridge, because we knew our fridge had to go right here, and you need a certain amount of space in front of your fridge so you're not bumping into your island or running into your other family members or guests or whoever, right? So I come in here and I realize once we have our wall cabinets up and we have our framing for our island, right here, thereabouts, that we only had about 40 inches or so of space. And I took one of the cabinet boxes, I shoved it up against our framing. I shoved one up here while they were building them. And I realized I barely fit. And if I barely fit, we have a problem. So that was kind of a self-inflicted problem, because we have plenty of space here, but we ran into it and we had to figure it out. And we had to solve it. So we did. So anyways, let's take a look at this side of the home. So we're just going to film one bedroom because all of these are identical. They're not very big bedrooms. They're about 12 by 12. They're not very big. And it was something I thought would come up as a complaint, but it wasn't. Nobody seemed to care. So that was either a product of our renovations, or maybe they saw the vaulted ceilings and didn't care. That's really all there is to say about the bedrooms. Okay, guys, so this is I call it our hallway bath or our guest bath. I'm not the biggest fan, I'm extremely transparent because I'm not here to pat myself on the back. I'm just here to show you guys what we did, how we did it, what our problems were, and show you the before and the after. I'm not the biggest fan of this floor tile. I don't think it takes away from anything, but it just kind of looks dated to me. So we're probably never going to buy this tile again. We did screw up. Okay, we did screw up. We did not put a little soap niche in the wall here. I didn't catch that till after we photographed the home. That's me not doing my job. So your job as a real estate investor, as a home remodeler, as a project manager, a flipper, whatever you want to call yourself, your job is to make sure that you're putting every possible feature you can into your homes to make your home as valuable, as appealing to people as you can. Now we got a full price offer, so somebody saw this, or maybe they didn't see it either. They still wrote a full price offer, so definitely got away with one. I would throw that in the got away with one category. But either way, that was a screw up on our part, and I felt like we could have done better on the floor tile, but that's just my opinion. Okay, guys, so the only other thing to have shown you on that side of the house were two other identical bedrooms. And there are so many little things in this home. I know you guys saw it by the electric fireplace. We did the wall sconces on the sides above the built-ins. I forgot to talk about that, and there's so many little things. But one of my favorite things that we did here is this wallpaper. And this wallpaper went up right at the end of construction. It was one of the very last things that we did. And I found this wallpaper on Wayfair, and we took a chance on it. I got it, and it's actually a 51-foot roll, and it's a
48-inch wide wallpaper. And it's got a great texture to it as well. All right, so everything else really in this part of the house is pretty self-explanatory. So let's go ahead. On this side of the house, we have an office 5th bedroom. Let's come into here. So this was actually just an office when we got the house. So this was just an office space. I believe it's a 10 by 11 room, and it's got 12-foot ceilings. So this space feels so much bigger than it really is. And so what we did was we added a corner closet right here. And the reason we added a corner closet, we knew we wanted to market this house as a 5-bedroom. And we want to give people value. So we don't want to just take a tiny office, throw a closet in, and call it a bedroom. We want it to be a functional bedroom if we're going to market it as one, right? Otherwise, you're deceiving your buyers. You don't want to do that, okay? So we thought of every which way to put a closet. We came up with this, and it works so good. And there's actually so much room in this closet. And we really didn't take away any of the interior space from this room because of where it's situated. So that's what's remarkable about that room. We're just inching our way to the primary bedroom and primary bath. So we went with this white oak. We kept our stone. And again, I struggle with these floor tiles. I don't hate this one. I feel like this blue, this matte blue works with the hex. I like how this turned out. Buyers really like this pool bath. We got a lot of good feedback on it. I feel like we can do better. I feel like we can do better. So going forward, you'll learn what tile choices you like and don't like and how they work together. Probably the last time we'll do a white tile in a pool bathroom. We did everything we could to make these rooms feel bigger. All of our choices on our paints, our flooring choices, everything is kind of, it has a purpose. We do white on the walls to make the room feel bigger. We went with a lighter color floor, or a medium color floor. I think that kind of accents everything well. So we are finally here. This is, aside from the kitchen, this is my favorite room in the house. So we have our closet right here. So that's what all this is. It's about 60 square feet of closet space. I love when you have a his and hers closet. We had no way to do that in this house. That was another recurring theme. I always talk about themes, but every house kind of has a theme, or multiples. And one of them was the layout was kind of set. So every time we tried to move something, change something, alter something, find space, we ran into problems, structural problems, or so we can't do it, or design problems like this. There's nowhere else to build more closet space without encroaching on that small primary. So anyways, what I wanted to do in here, kind of get out of the way for a second, but I wanted to just do white on white on white with some warm accents. I'm a big fan of whitewashing a room, but you gotta have something warm to kind of break it up. So we've got these white oak cabinets. My idea for the tub was to build like a little shelf up here in the corner and throw all the plumbing in there. We did run into an issue, and that is we couldn't build or frame our triangle corner right there big enough so it gets near the tub, so our tub spout can reach the tub. So our original tub spout actually stopped like right on the edge of the tub right here. And the reason for that, we didn't account for this. The window is so close to this wall that we had to stop, obviously, the framing right here on the edge of the window. So I had to go and search high and low for a longer delta tub spout that matched our valve and our valve trim. Let's come around. Let's see this this shower. So we love the walk-in shower. I personally love it. We always try to give buyers the option to close their shower in. And we did that. So we have the option, or a buyer has the option, to close this in right here, put a door right here or right here, and it's perfect. So We left it open. Again, no complaints. My only complaint was I wish I had put this drain up against the wall, the back wall, right below where the rain head shower is. I didn't think of that. We kind of wanted to go with like the shape and the way the bathroom runs, but going forward, we're going to change that. And I know these sometimes you might see these things, you're watching and you're thinking, how did you not think of that, right? How did you not consider that? Well, we considered 99 other things correctly and missed, one, right? So this is one of 100 other design decisions that we had to make, and we missed it, right? It happened. So things fall through the cracks. I can't be here every day, but it was done how I wanted it. And sometimes when you're renovating, also the bathroom doesn't look like this. It's an empty shell of what it's going to be. And sometimes these things look right while you have everything torn apart and you have walls open and you have floors open. And then when you see it finished, or as you're finishing, you realize, oh, my bad. And it's too late. And it was too late at that point. Lastly, we'll finish up this tour inside. I'm going to show you guys this green tile that we put in here, okay? And this green tile was supposed to go as a backsplash above the vanity cabinet. And I feel like I smartly, I had already purchased it. I smartly disavowed that design choice. It's an ugly tile. We bought it. I loved it in the store. I got it here. I realized it didn't fit the design aesthetic. So we had two choices. I bought it on clearance. It was on clearance for a reason. Throw it away, try to sell it. I scrapped both of those. I was going to use it, all right? And I wanted to just put it somewhere inconspicuous, so here it is. I renovate like every single house is my last house before I go out of business. And I feel like that drives me. All right, guys, we're almost there. We're almost done. If you're still watching, we're going to walk to the outside. Wow, look at this view. Does it get any better than this? Yes, it does. There's way better lakes. But it's a lake, okay? And it adds a ton of value for people that want to live on the water. Now, it's not a skiable lake. You got to canoe it or fish on it or whatever, but it's still here, and it wraps around. It actually wraps all the way around all 40-something homes in this community. It gets a little bit bigger on some of the other homes back there, but either way, it adds a lot of value to your property. It's a beautiful lot. It's something that you want to have. You also want to have a pool. I felt like we had the option, came really close here to doing a paver solution back here or something to kind of match the front of the home. I'm glad I didn't. You want to save money where you can. You want to do things to a very high standard because we were targeting that $1 million price point. But you also got to be careful. I felt like the money was better spent renovating the pool. In the end, I thought we created a vibrant, light, and bright pool area that kind of complemented, because we wanted to complement what we did inside, and I feel like we did. So last thing I want to show you guys, from the beginning we wanted to build a gazebo, and we wanted to do it economically. So I was able to find this on Wayfair. It came in a kit of like 4 giant boxes, and we threw it up. If somebody wants to build a nicer one, they're more than welcome. It wasn't very expensive, but it looks good and it fits the part and it communicates what we want. And then I knew, based on some of the other homes that had sold, we needed a fire pit area. So if you come back this way, so we struggled, where do we put this? How close to the lake do we go? Do we need to be under this tree? What kind of shade are we looking at? And we took a lot of time to consider all these factors. Okay, guys, I want to actually take you into the laundry, which we did not film. Here it is. So right back here is our butler's pantry. So as you can see, really all we did was we just pushed the laundry back into the home a little bit. Some of it's within the home, some of it's where the garage used to be, just like right about here. And then we just kind of found space, right, for both. We obviously could have just not done the butler's pantry.
and created a huge laundry space. We tried to have our cake and eat it too. I tried to find room for both. I'd been wanting to do one of these, like I said. I know I'm filming the back of it here, but you can see the shape of it. And here's the other half. I'm gonna open this garage door because that was another thing I wanted to show you guys. I know we talk about we borrowed space from the garage. You don't always want to do that. And that was one thing, that's why I'm kind of here on my own. And let's show you the garage, right? So this is your single bay right here. None of this was touched. This is how it is. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, we lost space here compared to the single bay. Okay, not true. So our single bay, or a double bay, extends out the equivalent. So one of the things you really want to be mindful of is and I'll just give you, I call it the F-150 test. When you get an F-150 into your garage and close the door without damaging the bed of the truck. And in our case, we can. I would have loved to have taken this out farther. Obviously, we have other space constraints we have to worry about with the air handler, but we still have, not by much, but we have enough that you can get your F-150 into your double garage bay right here. So we did not compromise. I really just kind of wanted to film this last little bit. We did not compromise our garage building this laundry. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching that. So let's talk about all the numbers because there's a lot to discuss on this one. Was it worth it? How did we do? What did we spend? It was quite the difference inside. So I know you guys know we spent a lot of money, and I spend whatever it costs to get these houses to meet the top of the comps. And not only that, but I like to do more. I like to go well beyond that. I want people to walk in these homes and not want to leave. That is our main goal when we do these houses. So we try to throw everything in the kitchen sink in there, no pun intended on that. So buyers walk in and they have to write an offer. That is our goal, and sometimes that causes us to go way over budget. So let's talk about it. We started at 680. We ended up spending 150,000 to renovate this house. Now that's not including any of the outside costs such as insurance or closing costs or any of that. That is literally what we paid, materials and labor to renovate this house. So now let's talk about what did we spend on closing costs. Closing costs, unfortunately, on this one were $72,000. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, wait, how is that possible? How can you spend $72,000 on closing costs? Well, we combine ours. Now, everybody's going to do their math differently. But for us, I take the closing costs when we buy the home, and then I add them to my projected closing costs when we sell the home, which are always a lot higher. So how does that 72,000 break down? Because that is a lot. I think that's worth going into a little bit of detail. So we had about 15 on the buying side. The majority of the buying side closing costs are going to our lender. We're not buying these houses cash from our own bank account. We're borrowing money. And those fees associated are always going to be a little higher than borrowing from a traditional lending institution, sadly. And they come with much higher interest rates. So every month we have interest building up while we're working on this house, while we're holding the house. So every month we have thousands of dollars in interest that is building up, and it's due when you sell the house. And with some lenders, you might have to pay that as you go. Ours is deferred all the way until the end. And that's nice for us because it's less to keep track of and we can focus on our job. However, when you go to sell the home, it's time to pay the piper. And sadly, with the holding costs and the realtor fees, because we need to pay a commission to a buyer's agent when we sell, and all of the transfer fees and taxes, it ended up being $57,000. And a lot of those taxes and fees, they're based on a percent. So here in Florida, you're just going to pay more if your house is worth more. And so that brings our break even to $902,000, which is significantly higher than we projected. We projected a break even of about $875,000, and we blew right past that.
So at this point, we had a lot of pressure on ourselves to get this house sold. And that pressure, sadly, ended up getting to me. And we took an offer that I regrettably wish I didn't. Almost don't want to put this on camera, but our goal here is to be completely transparent with you guys. So we ended up getting an offer. We sat for a week with zero interest. No calls, no showings, nothing. We priced at $995 and we got zero activity for the first week. And then finally we got a low cash offer that we ended up talking them up to $950 and we signed it. Now, that's a great thing. We ended up making $48,000. That is a great thing. So why is there a sad ending to this story? Well, because the next day I got a call. I had just got home golfing on a Sunday, and I got a call from a realtor who had clients interested, wanted to submit a backup offer at full asking price. I worked so hard to try to get out of this contract respectfully, but unfortunately, there was no way out. We did such a good job on this house that it was almost a detriment to us in the end. Now, these are great problems to have. Getting multiple offers, getting full price offers, those are great problems to have. In our case, we just needed to wait till the following weekend. Always good to negotiate with every single offer that comes in. However, sometimes you don't want to sign those right away. I'd at least wait till the next weekend. So if we do this all over again, guys, I would have at least given that lower offer till the weekend before I accepted something $45,000 under where we listed. With all that said, guys, we ended up making money. We get all our money that we put in back, plus a nice sum on top of that. And what we do is we go out and we buy expensive cars and jewelry and what? I'm just kidding. We put it back in the business and we reinvest that money so we can do more projects, okay? And grow our company and expand. And I encourage everybody, please like and subscribe to this if you enjoyed this content. And there is only going to be more and bigger and better coming your way. Cart before the horse, or the horse after the cart, or whatever it is. But we're going to scratch that. None of that's right. The horse after the cart. I don't know. Graffiti. It's 9.5 inches. Not as girthy as the other one we had, but it's it's longer. And sometimes length is what you want. Let me make sure my mic is on. Okay.